Okay, I'm sorry I didn't talk about this movie yesterday. I did talk about it when I talked about the box office, but I didn't give Spider-Man its own separate video, which I sort of done. But here we go. We're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home's incredible box office story. Spider-Man No Way Home has done extremely well at the box office. I think even my predictions, I predicted to open around 160 to 180 million. Okay, because of the pandemic, because the pandemic would lessen this movie's success domestically. But even then, it would still become the highest grossing movie of the year within a couple of days because of the holidays. But no one was expecting this movie to outperform Avengers Endgame. And we can put the comparison between Spider-Man No Way Home and we have the first day of Legs. It's actually performing extremely well for Legs as well. I think this movie is going to have really good legs at the box office, like Star Wars The Force Awakens. Considering how basically everybody said it's a masterpiece and says it's basically the best Spider-Man movie of all time, except for those salty, nostalgia, you know, Spider-Man 2 fanboys who still can't, again, not everybody's gonna like Spider-Man No Way Home, I know that's for sure. Not everybody likes even the Shawshank Redemption on IMDb. There's still people who do not like the movie, because not everybody, you can't make everybody like something, okay? And it doesn't help that, fandoms now become very toxic. If you don't like a certain movie or game, they'll freak out and get angry at you. In the case of The Incredibles, I said I don't like The Incredibles, and everybody got angry at me because I didn't like The Incredibles. Was just completely and utterly and foolish of people. But if we compare Spider-Man to, let's just say, you know, okay, let's just say to Avengers Infinity War, which is the one I think people should be comparing it to, and maybe Star Wars The Force Awakens, it has beat Infinity War on Monday by 415 million. It has made 297 million dollars on here, and it's gonna do big out for the next week because it is, of course, the holiday Christmas weekend. We're now heading up to it. We also had the Matrix Resurrections, which is considered the worst Matrix movie of all time, which is not too surprising because everybody was expecting that movie to be a pilot set anyways. But Spider-Man will likely do well. Again, Spider-Man might have lesser legs because of competition coming out, which is the Matrix is coming out. Sing 2, which is going to gravitate to younger audiences. You know, the moms, oblivious moms and grandmas just taking their kids. Oh my God, let's see another Illumination movie that it's not totally the same as every other Illumination movie out there. And of course, you have the Kingsman, which I think is projected to flop anyways, because it is a movie that basically is competing with Matrix. Again, the Kingsman is part of the Kingsman franchise, but Kingsman is a mid-tier franchise. It's not going to really do at the well likes as Matrix, which is very recognizable franchise considering how much an impact the Matrix had on the film industry, and and of course, seeing because kids are gonna go watch that anyways. Kids are convinced their parents to go watch, the movie anyways, which is Sing 2, and also Sing is a sequel of a franchise, so it's gonna probably do far better than like a Tonto. It's gonna probably be a Tonto easily at the box office, which is gonna be pretty hilarious as well because a Tonto is not a part of a franchise, which we have shown, with the exception of one film, which is Free Guy. If a movie's not about a part of a franchise, it starts abysmally. Or if it's a part of or if it's another remake, another of Hollywood's unnecessary remakes like West Side Story bombing at the box office. It has proven for the past couple of months that if a movie is part of a franchise, with a few exceptions, it does better than movies that are not a part of a franchise. Okay, the highest grossing movies of the year is Venom 2, part of the Venom/Marvel universe. The Eternals, part of the MCU. Even though it didn't really have much name recognition compared to Black Widow, though, and it was Marvel's more experimental films like Shang-Chi, it was still, both movies were still a part of the Marvel, universe, which gave them the advantage over a movie, let's just say, like Maleficent as well. And it gave them the advantage over many other movies as well. We have this, and again, you had movies like this, and again, not all movies work that well. G.I. Joe Origins, Suicide Squad, and Space Seven New Legacy are notorious box office flops of the year again. the Suicide Squad was mostly because of HBO Max and because of sour taste from the first Suicide Squad, which is kind of understandable. If you have not watched the Suicide Squad, I think you should watch it. It's an amazing movie. But Space Jam 2, again, with LeBron James, is basically hated across America. And G.I. Joe, basically, it had really bad advertising, false advertising as well. Millennials don't really give a shit about G.I. Joe. Mostly, Gen Z and boomers mostly like G.I. Joe because G.I. Joe is an 80s franchise. So, and he had, of course, movies, you know, and you have the highest grossing movies of the year, which usually happens, or usually, but the most successful, the most profitable movies of the year are from movie franchises. I think another reason why is because millennials mostly care about movies that are part of a series, movies that are part of an ongoing franchise or related to a movie franchise that was ongoing. All the movies that basically, except for Free Guy and Jungle Cruise, which again, Jungle Cruise had Disney behind it. So, even then, Jungle Cruise did lose money. Despite it's getting a sequel, it still lost money for Disney, which is the most ironic thing out of it all. And we can go over here. I think, oh yeah, we record for annual box office, and and if you look at the highest grossing movies of the year, the 10 highest grossing movies of the year, let's see, Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's a sequel to Ghostbusters 2, Free Guy, a completely original movie. A Quiet Place Part 2, a sequel to Quiet Place. No Time to Die, another Bond movie. Eternals, Marvel, F9, Fast and the Furious, and the last four are part of the Marvel universe. First, if we can go further down on the list, you have movies like Dune, which is a adaptation of a book, and they're turning it into a franchise, and it is an adaptation of a very popular book series. No, not I don't know if Dune's a book series or not, but though, I think it is a book series. It's a very, 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 it's a very much a cult classic book series that became very popular this year because of the movie Godzilla and Halloween Kills. Out of the top 20, the only new original idea movies is Encanto, which is made by Disney. Candyman's a sequel, another reboot, and Cruella is a remake. So, and out of the top 30, we have House of Gucci making it in, and Old, with our other two original movies. But out of that, most of these movies didn't really do too well, and the highest grossing movies of the year, which typically tends to be franchise-related movies and sub-franchise movies. Like Joker is considered a sub-franchise movie. Even though Joker could very, very well turn into its own franchise, it's still a part of DC universe. It's still adapted from DC characters. And same thing with the Eternals, and Sing C is a part of it's on the extended. But out of this, the only two really successful non-franchise movies, actually three, the only non-franchise movies is Jungle Cruise, is again it's based off a Disney ride. So we can't really count Jungle Cruise as it is based off of a Disney ride. It is actually based off something Free Guy, which is basically like, Ready Player One and Sword Art Online, basically like that. You have, of course, the other movie being Encanto, which is again a Disney animation brand movie, which still bombed at the box office anyways, because people didn't really give a shit, because people really are giving up on Disney as well. So so yep, that's basically about this video. Goodbye.